obviously we try to do as many swim runs as humanly possible whilst staying happily married and still trying to be
employed.
dad of the year and gainfully employed. These
sure.
are factors we have to deal with, but really excited, obviously, that we got into Attila. We've taken a couple years off from that. We were out there this year, but really looking forward to that one. But looking forward to it.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be
a thing.
It's gonna be a thing.
Welcome to the Low Tide Boys, a Swimrun podcast. I'm Chip.
I'm Chris, and this is episode 312 of the show. It's kind of hard to believe we're at the end of the year, so Merry Christmas, everyone. This video or audio, depending where you're listening, drops on Christmas Day here in the U.S. Thank you for everyone tuning in, but we are going to do our time-honored tradition at this point, the 6th edition of our Low Tide Boys Fireside Chat, retrospective on our year, random thoughts, looking back, looking forward, all that.
A little bit of everything. I mean, we talked about this sometime, granted it's released during the holiday week, but this is, I think, the episode for the fans.
Yes, it's historically our least downloaded show.
Downloaded, so only the core Low Tide Boys folks are into this one. But I think this is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, and I think for us, it's like one of the things this show has really allowed us to do is really have this sort of documentary evidence of all of our race reports, everything we've done, our journey in Swimrun. So for us, it's pretty interesting. It's like a captain's log that we get to put in every week, and certainly this one, we had a lot of fun in our sort of production meeting on this, if you will, on what we were going to talk about, because this year, if anything, I think it's been one of our most unique years in Swimrun.
By far.
So I even have notes. So I think our first thing we want to talk about is this has really been a year first, and it really started at Austin last year, where I raced with a different person than Chipper, not counting a COVID virtual swim run that I did with her friend Sandrine. We were a team, I forgot what our team name was. It was Team Untethered. That's what it was, which I think early awesome team name. But yeah, I raced with Viv Emraz at Austin, and that really kicked off. You were injured. I ended up being injured pretty soon after, but certainly we've had much more unique or different experiences than we've had in the sport of swimrun.
We leveled up our swimrun in this year for sure. We've learned a lot. It's hard to say we've learned the most because we've also learned a lot in the past for where we're at for being pretty experienced swim runners. I felt like we really gained a lot. We had a lot of new experiences there. And like from the Austin to Austin kind of bookend is probably the way there. You raced with Viv, then Catalina.
I was injured.
You were injured for Catalina, so I paired up with Will Ramsey, had a great race there. And then in July, you raced with Annie.
Yep, which was in many ways a dream come true. I mean, we both raced with Annie because we did
Bellingham.
We did our first triples team at Bellingham. Then I raced with Annie in the sprint at Whistler. Then you raced in France.
Raced in France. Did the Swimrun Man in France, and then
and then I did Mackinac
with John,
friend of the show, John Concho Boy. My BFF, he's from Michigan, so we basically did that race. Actually, we signed up not knowing it was going to be the last edition, so it was pretty cool to get to do a race, which was incidentally super fun, and I'm bummed that it's no longer on the circuit.
Then Cape Cod with Emily.
Yep.
And then we did Colorado in
Got
between.
Got the band back together. We did Folsom.
Folsom,
I know, we did so many races. So we did Folsom together, and that was kind of like, that was Folsom. It was fine. Colorado, I mean, that was a real race.
We'll save it for later. Yeah, we even got a note for
that has
its own.
That has its own note, and then closed it out with Austin, and with our first, Attila win,
Attila victory, which,
such as it was.
Awesome, great way to finish the swimrun season. But a lot there, I think. And also on the racecraft side of it, you led a lot of those swims with some of your partners. You were taking the...
Well, every person that I raced with, part of the understanding was I was leading all the swims.
Okay.
So with Viv,
which is new
with
for
everyone,
you're...
Yeah. I mean, it's like
obviously you can totally
everybody
handle
knows. Everybody knows I'm good for it.
Yeah. I
know. But it's also like, Chipper's 10 years younger than me. If he wants to lead the swims, that's cool.
I can handle it. and then experimenting with kind of how taking some of those learnings, experimenting there.
Yeah, I mean, certainly
smarter, more mature swim running.
Yeah, certainly felt like it was a level up in that exactly. The racecraft, I thought racing with different people made me appreciate what you bring to the table in a different way because, I just gained so much more familiarity for different types of racing, different communication styles. Still had, the A goal was always like pass the vibe check, have fun. But beyond that, it's like, well, there's a lot to think about. And certainly when I was racing with other people, I think about you a lot, being like, oh yeah, Chipper and I would have done this or something else. And I felt it really I felt like a much smarter swim runner, even when we raced again in Colorado. But when we showed up at that race, I was still injured. There's a lot going on. I was trying not to aggravate anything, but we raced that.
We were not 100% for sure.
I just felt like we're making good decisions the whole day, which is what you kind of want to do in swim run is just, okay, what's the next right move? What's the next right move?
Absolutely. And I think on that, I felt like for the vast majority of the year, our transitions were super crisp. And like we just had them down this year. And, sometimes early in the season, you're kind of a little bit lazy on them. It's totally fine. We got to do, but I felt like kind of part of that racecraft was like, boom, we were just like being snappy, nothing wasted, just like all business kind of thing going for it.
Plus we had a bunch of DQs early in the year.
I know we were disqualification, back-to-back disqualifications for me. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I think another thing that was different was specifically for you, Chipper, your level of fitness towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
You were training for CIM. I was quasi training for New York. And we came into sort of the end of the season, with much more road miles on our belt, but certainly it paid off at Austin.
Yeah, it definitely did. And that, kind of coming back from the injury and training, sort of shifting some of the training calendar and carried that fitness into the fall marathon in early December. I think really paid off in Austin. And your training for NYC, we kind of got us thinking, hey, now with Attila, 2026 on the race calendar, how does this play into our training? So we'll talk a little bit.
Well, I think another thing that was a first for us this year was our super intern. We have to shout out Dave. He did all this research, created Dave's List, which is living document of every single swim run that's happening on planet Earth, which is pretty cool. And he's been super awesome with the data and stuff. We're actually going to have him come on because he's going to do an analysis of the World Champs breakdown. For everyone who got in, congratulations on that. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of firsts, really fun stuff. We did more, leaning more on YouTube, I think, as we go. One thing we noticed at races this year is more people are coming up to us and not saying, hey, we've heard the show, but we've watched the video.
Your videos on YouTube. So I feel like that was overwhelming the majority of how people said they kind of heard about us or gave us thanks or chatted us up. So from the show, we definitely have been investing a lot more into our video channels for sure there. And obviously the podcast is still happening in audio form. And then I think one of the coolest things that we never could have imagined from the podcast perspective, we partnered with Attila and for the World Champ and did live
did the live broadcast
on their Facebook page.
I was just telling, totally insane. I was just telling my wife, Susan, the other night, because we were talking about Swimrun, which tends to happen in our household at dinner. I don't know about you guys, but I was like, there is no universe where I would have been able to say, oh yeah, I've been to Sweden 3 of the last 4 years. But if it wasn't for this show, if it wasn't for the sport, there's no way I would have been in Sweden at all, let alone 3 out of the last 4 years. And incidentally, it's going to be 4 out of the last 5 years because Chipper and I found out on Swimrun Christmas, trademark, that we qualified for the 20th edition. So we're super stoked to go.
Yep.
That's not going to be a first, but we're going to treat it like our first. We're going to respect it and whatnot. But I think with that, the second thing we wanted to talk about was racing injured. So huge shout out to Annie Molesbury, who basically became sort of my PT Sherpa and really helped me through what was a pretty debilitating injury. I hurt my lower back, had like a herniated disc, was trying to deal with that, thought I was better, ran a 50K, then re-aggravated it and just wasn't healing. And, she really helped me a lot because my main PT was like, you shouldn't do anything for 6 months. And I was like, that's going to drive me crazy.
Yeah.
And Annie was like,
more
she's also a PT,
realistic person,
and
yes.
she's like, I know you don't need to do nothing. How about run walk for 3 months, which was a new thing for me, but
Yeah.
I basically did everything she said. And even as late as August, I didn't know if I was going to be able to run the New York City Marathon in November. And August 1st was really going to be like my go, no go type thing. So even as late as October, I was like, okay, I'm just trying not to be an idiot with this decision, to the point where Annie and I were supposed to do the World Series distance at Whistler, and we dialed it back to the sprint, which was, talk about first time I ever raced a sprint, which was, a new thing, which was fun. But yeah, like that whole process of racing injured, like I've never raced with that little bit of fear in the back, where it's like, I just don't want to aggravate it. I don't want to make it worse. And I'm certainly committed. Well, I found out what was possible, which is like, yeah, you can still race really well, just kind of like not like feeling dialing, like you're just going. But honestly, and this was the hardest thing for me, I think, like I always raced feeling like super free, like not like holding back or feeling like, just all like kind of skittish.
Breaks. Yeah.
So, it was interesting to have to race kind of skittish for a long time. But I feel like I learned a lot about myself and what I'm capable of, and sort of like racing through injury was certainly a lot of racing through injury, I felt.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the few races that you did, we very clearly set sort of expectation. I mean, I already knew, obviously, we chat all the time, but like, hey, we're going to have to really kind of take it slow and like bring it down to your level to make sure that you're not feeling stressed out, because you're stressed. I'm also like, oh man, I don't want anything to happen, or push it too hard.
Nobody wants
like
anything bad. Like, nobody wants that.
So, but yeah, I mean, I have kind of coming back from my injury as well.
That's
it's
right.
like, but it's kind of like, hey, you do the smart thing, and then it'll pay off. You'll kind of come back a little bit stronger, and you won't take it for granted there. And I feel like at Colorado, it was like every race we were doing, you're like, okay, getting a little bit better, a little bit more confident type of stuff. But overall, I think you're set up for a good 2026 though.
Yeah, I think so. And I think like certainly I learned to just give myself like a lot more grace and sort of understand where I'm at. Like even honestly felt like New York City Marathon in particular, because, you're solo time trial kind of thing with 50,000 other people. I don't think I've done a marathon like that smart and that realistic about outcomes. And I can only attribute to that to having to be really smart in sort of other races. And like, I wanted to enjoy New York City Marathon and not aggravate anything, because that sucks. So just my whole mindset was really different. I'm certainly going to try to carry that into next season, where, just kind of rely on your training, just keep making good decisions, and just kind of trust yourself, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, kind of listen to your body, play it smart, listen to experts as best you can.
Yeah. And it's funny that it takes, sometimes really debilitating injuries to just remind you of some of this real basic stuff. But hey, if this helps someone out there to just be patient and present, like go for it. So that leads into the next thing we want to talk about, which, we're kind of calling this heading, applying what we've learned. And that was really Colorado. Now, knew that race was hard. We knew it was going to be at elevation. First year race. We prepped for it as best we could. I was essentially finishing a quasi marathon training block. Chipper was still early kind of in your build, but definitely picking up the mileage.
Miles was picking up.
Goals going in was me not getting injured, and then just trying to, obviously also the goal for this year was like not trying to spend all day out there. So try not to get hurt, but also don't dilly dally. Let's just get this thing done. A super cool race. We have a whole race report if you want to go into. We're not going to go rehash that, but I think like as like a looking back, that race for me felt like, okay, it felt like a clear leveling up.
Confidence.
It was like a leveling up just in terms of our partnership, because it certainly carried over to Austin, but just the way we're communicating. For me, it felt extremely familiar. Again, this is after coming off racing with a bunch of other people, where I think like racing back with like my main dude was like, okay.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's right. We got a lot of, I feel that as well. And yeah, Colorado, I mean, immediately after race, rightfully so, we were both like, woof. We kind of got caught a whooping there for a moment. But as time goes on, I'm like, oh, wow, yes, that race is legit and was serious, but we did pretty good there. Looking back, happy with the performance, good swim running.
Yes.
Good swim running. And I think I had kind of been ramping my marathon build, and I was feeling like a little bit more fitness, especially on the hills and stuff. Like, okay, kind of feeling a little bit more confident from this a little bit different training as well. You ended up leading some swims there.
True.
He deployed a new kind of tactic that we had, and your swim volume had come down as well, so you had that to kind of adjust. So with all the factors that we had going on, really, really happy with how that race turned out for us.
Yeah, and again, it felt like, okay, what's the next decision we need to make? Okay, that seemed like the right thing. Okay, what's the next evolution on what's going on? Okay, we did it. Even when it started to get real challenging, we were just communicating well. We knew we had it in the bag. We just taking one step in front of the other.
Yeah.
And also had a lot of fun, which was cool because it's the longest race we'd done in a while.
Yeah.
And to just be like being able to chop it up was
I remember being out there and we were climbing up and I was like, hey, we haven't been out for a couple hours in a while. This is a good time.
Sure.
It was a good time.
For sure. Yeah. So I think for me, that race, I'm certainly carrying that one into next year.
Yeah.
Because it just felt like Austin as well, differently, because that race we've done so many times. I feel like at this point, we don't really need to look at course maps or anything for that unless they change it, since we've done every single edition of that one. But yeah, it just felt really great. And I think, like, looking back, that's the race. Every year there's a race where it was like, okay, that was the one.
That was the one.
That was certainly the one.
Yeah.
The next thing we wanted to chat about was, this is a PSA we've been saying for a long time, but this idea of like racing local, sort of, or relatively speaking. And we certainly made a commitment to do that this year. We raced in Bellingham, which is a local race, raced in Folsom, which is essentially, like, once again, the only swim run in California. It's a good one. We encourage everyone to fly to Sacramento to come do it with us. And then I raced Swim Run Cape Cod, which was like 3 years in the making, because the first two editions, it's like a hurricane one year and a crazy storm where the park kind of shut everything down. So it happened this year and it was great. And it just felt really great to support the local swim runs. And that's certainly something that we encourage everyone to do. Like, there happens to be a swim run near you, please do it. Please sign up.
Yeah, definitely. People, if you're going to try something new, especially swim run, kind of a weird new thing to try, you're not going to invest and say, hey, I'm going to fly up to Orcas Island, do the 3 or 4 day thing. You're going to, hey, I'm going to drive an hour, do the one up here at Folsom Lake and see how it is. Then you'll catch the bug there, and then you can go tackle some of the circuit and some of the other ones there. So the local races are just, there's a lot of good energy put into these things, and it's a cool way to experience your local terrain. Like, I've lived and been up to Folsom, was married in Folsom. I've never been on some of those trails and gone to some of those. It's a cool way to just experience your local trail.
Yeah, and
Bellingham's just like a cool.
Bellingham's awesome.
I'm like, oh man, what a cool town to say.
And it's awesome. And if you think we're harping on this too much, it's like it's happened too many times where we're talking to someone who's like, oh, I didn't even know there was a race in Bellingham, and they live in Seattle or something like that. Like, we'll see them at a major race. We're like, oh yeah, you should do Bellingham. It's like, what? There's a swim run in Bellingham? If you're into swim run, definitely do the Attila races, because those are awesome and sort of like the highest level of the sport in the US. But also go to Dave's List and see if there is a race in your state or the state next door or something like that, because those races exist, and the only way the sport grows, again, I sound like a broken record, the only way this grows is by growing the base, like the mom and pop races. And if those races become sustainable, then swim run will certainly explode in the US, because not everyone needs to be on some Attila, world championship hero journey. You can just be like, I just want to use my triathlon fitness or whatever.
Yeah, you're an open water swimmer. You want to run around and have fun.
For sure.
Welcome aboard.
For sure. So that's what we had a chat about looking back. Now, looking forward, 2026, we're saying it once again. It's going to be the year of swim run. It's the year of swim run. It's the 20th edition of Attila, which we'll be at. We'll talk about that in a second. It's also the 10th edition of Casco Bay. Now, this is a race of historically the most important swim run in the U.S., right? The first swim run outside of, in this hemisphere. And it's also an awesome freaking race.
It's an awesome race. And to us, too, it was the one, even though we weren't racing as the Low Tide Boys, it was what really got us hooked on it. It was our second swim run, but it was really, I don't know what it was about it, but it just got us. And, that was kind of the precursor to this whole thing. So obviously it has a special place in our hearts.
Definitely.
But It's also a really cool part of the country to check out. It's the most European style point to point. It's just a really fucking cool race. You get to go through like a fort, like an old battle fort. You're swimming across the Portland Sound. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a really cool race.
We encourage everyone to sign up. Let's really sell this one out this year. It's going to be awesome up there. If you're doing Worlds and you live in this hemisphere, got to do Casco. It's a perfect tune-up. Strong, yeah. Like, not even suggestion. Like, you just kind of should do it if you can do it. Unless, like, work and life, but try to do it. The next thing we want to talk about is our training ideas for 2026. So we noticed that, well, just the way things pan out, I have an early kind of season, like a spring marathon, and also seeing, Chipper, how your fitness or just doing the road miles kind of paid off, as well as for me, sort of picking up the road run volume. Like, we're thinking of making sure we incorporate that more in our training, where in years past for Attila build, it's been like 100% trails and track sometimes. But even that, we would do like, trail track on that stuff, just so we can have sort of a little bit of the top end speed, a little bit of that running economy that we think will help us in the last third of the race. That seems to be like maybe the biggest change. Obviously, you want to show up to Attila with supreme swim fitness and whatnot, but a little bit more road focus, a little bit more strength focus, and just trying to show up at Attila in just, a little bit sturdier than we have in years past, where maybe in years past it was definitely had the endurance where it needed to be, but not like the bushwhacking kind of.
Yeah, I think in years past, we've been training to like, let's get through this and, not embarrass ourselves type of things. Let's endure and have a good time.
For sure.
This one, I think we are kind of want to take it on a little bit of a different way. And I think part of it's the road miles and kind of the endurance that builds for the legs, but also some of these kind of longer speed, like, hey, you're doing 2 or 3 miles at like this kind of pace, which is helpful. And like, ideally, when we're on Orna, we have more of that kind of legs that we can go, hey, we can run 8 miles at a pretty good clip, 15, 20 minutes to kind of shave off if you kind of have the legs there compared to years past for us, which, would be great.
I think like,
and the swimming, for sure.
You got to have your swim down. So you got to take all that seriously. But certainly, I think our plan is to show up a little bit, like to race it a little bit more for us. Just be a little bit more racy for us.
Yeah, definitely. Like we've got the nutrition. I feel like we got the gut training is going on still.
Yeah, so that leads to what our tentative race calendar is going to be for 2026. So Chipper and I, we're going to keep the tradition alive and do the Big Alta 50K, which is a super hard, beefy 50K that happens 2 minutes from our house, 3 minutes from our house.
It's like a 5-minute drive in the morning. It's
awesome.
Amazing.
It's great. And a bunch of swim runners are coming out to do it, so that's going to be super fun.
And then a barbecue at Chris's house after.
Barbecue at Chris's house. Yep. I'll be... it worked. It was fine last year.
Yeah, it worked out fine last time.
I wouldn't say it was my best idea to do a barbecue hours after a 50K.
It's like, wow, Chris is really going to stand around after.
It worked.
Yeah,
it worked.
We made it happen.
So we're doing that, and then I'm doing a spring marathon, and then our swimrun schedule is going to start at Orcas Island. This is a race where we have, I don't want to say revenge tour or get redemption, but certainly we left a lot on the table.
There's time on the table.
So we're going to try to kind of,
make good with that.
Bring some of that back. And it's also an amazing place to go. So since we did it in 2021,
Damn.
we've been just kind of itching to go back. So that's going to be super fun. Then we have Folsom Swim Run. Then we have Bellingham Swim Run. Whenever that is, that date isn't set yet, but we think it's going to be
sometime in June.
In June, second week in June maybe. Then Folsom Swim Run. Then Casco 10th edition. Then we'll be doing the World Champs, which will be what it is.
Hell yeah.
Then a month later, Swimrun Cape Cod, and then rounding out the season with Austin once again, which is at this point, like,
it's happening.
It's happening. Austin needs to happen.
Yeah, I don't think we've had our calendar like this solidified before.
I know. I mean, it's all tentative.
This is our intention. Obviously, we try to do as many swim runs as humanly possible whilst staying happily married and still trying to be
employed.
Dad of the year and gainfully employed. These are our factors we have to deal with, but really excited that we got into Attila. We have taken a couple years off from that. We were out there this year, but really looking forward to that one. But, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be
a thing.
It's going to be a thing. And then in terms of the show, we have some new programming that we're going to be bringing out to everyone. We're bringing back our Countdown to Attila or Road to Attila series. So we'll be doing that once a month, maybe starting in March. We'll have tons of training tips, experienced people on. We'll deal with process our own anxiety with everyone live here. And just try to make sure everyone shows up to that start line as prepared as possible for an amazing day. We also have awesome shows coming up. We're going to do a rewind mixtape where we're going to bring back some of our old episodes. Yeah. So we'll be some of our favorite conversations from throughout the year. So we'll start doing those once a month in January. Partners Month still happening.
To happen in February.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that as usual. And then, excited to bring back the Road to Attila. How we're feeling, kind of where the mind is at, what we're focusing on, some key workouts and stuff. The mixtape, I think, will be pretty cool. We haven't decided how we're going to do it, but with 312 episodes in the bank, we know there are some people out there that have actually heard all of them, and we thank you, but there's some real gems in there. So we're like, how can we sort of get these back in? So we're going to maybe we'll do like a little 5-minute kind of throw it back and forth, recap the episode, and play the vintage episode, the mixtape there. But that'll be good. Yep. And then we want to continue focusing on YouTube as well, because that's what we hear. Like Chris mentioned, whenever we go, hey, love the YouTube videos, so helpful. So we know our podcast is on YouTube, but coming into 2026, want to make a more concerted effort to do like one sort of quote unquote YouTube video where we're trying to teach something or break down a concept, transition, gear, shoes, something like that, to sort of help be more of a one-on-one content. So we want to start doing that. So if you're already not subscribed to our YouTube channel, now's a good time. We'll continue to keep ratcheting up the.
And if you have any ideas for videos that you want, it's like, hey, I'd really love to get 12 minutes from you guys on why Frank paddles are the greatest paddles in the world. We're here for you.
We are.
Speaking of Frank paddles.
Hey, I was just thinking, speaking of Frank paddles.
Speaking of Frank paddles. So another thing that happened at the start of this year, which was pretty ridiculous, is we came out with our own signature carbon fiber swim paddle specifically for Swimrun that we designed with Frederic, who's just the coolest dude, making these things by hand. V2 of those are open for pre-order now, so you can go to frankpaddle.com and just go into their shop. You'll see the Low Tide Boys paddle. Just pre-order that. Trust us.
It's good stuff. I busted them out back in the pool today after threw the paddles on just to see. I'm like, oh yeah, nice.
They're nice. They're nice. So the 2.0 version, the stickers on the bottom now come on the side. So if you want to have a sticker on it, you can put it on, or not. You can leave it plain if you want to be a little bit more stealth. And the texture on the top is a little bit different. So you can also write on the top if you wanted to do that. We obviously swear by these paddles. We've used them exclusively for years now. World champs, everything. Yes. They're bomb-proof. They're great. I'm still using the prototypes of our signature paddles because they're still good.
They're amazing. And I mean, we only have heard good things. I know our lane mates at the pool try to steal them from us because they're so cool. So if you want to be cool at the pool, you can't go wrong with the Low Tide Boys Frank paddles. So
it's true.
Head on over there and get those things ordered up.
Yeah, so support these like literally handmade bespoke paddles.
And this like workshop shed garage thing.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. He's amazing. Really great guy. Yeah. And I think with that, sign up for Swimrun races, people.
Yes.
And make sure to sign up for our newsletter, subscribe, watch us, review us, leave us 5 stars. Really appreciate it. It helps other people find the show. And really looking forward for next year. Yeah, next year was great. Next year's looking to be great. And this year, all this, huge thanks to everyone who pledges money on Patreon there. Really appreciate that. That helps, cover hotel rooms, flights, software, and all sorts of stuff. Stickers that we do for this. All the feedback and the love and comments and everything that we get on all the social media channels, much appreciated. And that's always sort of fuels Chris and I up to keep us going. And love the questions in the email and chatting gear and strategy and stuff. It just tickled. It's good stuff. Tickled to do it. And then, of course, to the wives and the families,
Low Tide Boys would not be happening without their love and support. And the kids as well, our biggest fans still. Happy to say again, I think, they're still our biggest fans, which is good.
Yep. They're rocking the Low Tide Boys gear all the time, which is great to see. My daughter tells people I'm a YouTuber. That's my job.
She's not wrong, but I wouldn't. Is that what your LinkedIn says?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
But yeah, so let's just echo what Chipper said. Thank you, everyone, for a great year this year. Looking forward to seeing everyone at events next year. And yeah, see you out there, everybody.
See you out there. See you in 2026. Happy holidays. Merry Festivus. See you out there. That's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a rating or review, since that's the best way to help other people discover the show and the sport of swim run.
Check out our website, lowtideboys.com. That's boys with a Z, for swimrun resources, including gear guides, tips, how-to videos, and so much more. Make sure to check out our meme page at The Low Tide Boys on Instagram. If you have any questions or suggestions for the show, send us a DM or email us at lowtideboys@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Riding Easy Records for our show music, and of course our wives for their support and tolerance of our swim run and other activities.
Lots of activities.
Lots of activities.
Finally, you can support our efforts on Patreon. Until next time, get out there and go for a swim.
Then a run.
And then a swim.
Then another run.
Then another swim.
Then run some more.
Just keep going.
Let's go.
And then stop at some point because,
And fuel. Don't forget to fuel.
Gotta fuel
Of
too.
course, yes.